Hi, I'm Madi Martinez, and we're here to talk about Chapter 11 of The Artist's Way, Recovering a Sense of Autonomy. We examine the ongoing ways we must nurture and accept ourselves as artists. We explore behaviors that can strengthen our spiritual base and therefore our creative power. I did my pages 5 days this week. For my artist date, I went to my local mega mall in Lansing, and I looked at the treasures. That was fun because there was a lot of weird stuff from my childhood that I saw there. And it's a giant thrift antique store where people sell their stuff, like a garage sale. Everyone has their own little garage camp. So I didn't find anything that I took home, but it was cool to see stuff from my childhood, and then also random stuff like the Series of Unfortunate Events series. Those were so important to me when I was in middle school or elementary school. I think elementary school. But that was cool to see those. And then I went to Schuler Books and I got a book about witchcraft. The first section of this chapter is called Acceptance. As artists, we have to experiment with the lifestyles and schedules that work for us. Even when the work is great, it might not be able to financially support us. Julia says, I have to free myself from determining my value and the value of my work by my work's market value. The idea that money validates my credibility is very hard to shake. I must learn that as an artist, my credibility lies within me, God, and in my work. In other words, if I have a poem to write, I have to write that poem, whether it will sell or not. I need to create what wants to be created. I cannot plan a career to unfold in a sensible direction dictated by cash flow and marketing strategies. Too much focus on cash flow and marketing strategies can stifle our ability to create. Sometimes I will write badly, draw badly, paint badly, perform badly. I have a right to do that to get to the other side. Creativity is its own reward. As an artist, I must be very careful to surround myself with people who nurture my artist, not people who try to overly domesticate it for my own good. Certain friendships will kick off my artistic imagination and others will deaden it. As an artist, my self-respect comes from doing the work. One performance at a time, one gig at a time, one painting at a time. As an artist, I can literally die from boredom. I kill myself when I fail to nurture my artist child because I am acting like somebody else's idea of an adult. The more I nurture my artist child, the more adult I am able to appear. Spoiling my artist means it will let me type a business letter. Ignoring my artist means a grinding depression. There is a connection between self-nurturing and self-respect. If I allow myself to be bullied and cowed by other people's urges for me to be more normal or more nice, I sell myself out. They may like me better, feel more comfortable or with my more conventional appearance and behavior, but I will hate myself. Hating myself, I may lash out at myself and others. If I sabotage my artist, I can well expect an eating binge, a sex binge, a temper binge. When we are not creating, artists are not always very normal or very nice to ourselves or others. To be an artist is to recognize the particular, to appreciate the peculiar. To be an artist is to acknowledge the astonishing. It is to allow the wrong piece in a room if we like it. It is to hang on to the weird coat that makes us happy. It is to not keep trying to be something that we aren't. If you are happier writing than not writing, painting than not painting, singing than not singing, acting than not acting, directing than not directing, for God's sake, let yourself do it. To kill your dreams because they are irresponsible is to be irresponsible to yourself. Credibility lies with you and God, not with a vote of your friends and acquaintances. The Creator made us creative. Our creativity is our gift from God. Our use of it is our gift to God. Accepting this bargain is the beginning of true self-acceptance. This section made me emotional when I first read it because self-acceptance is one of my biggest struggles. I do not accept myself as I am. I want to be perfect, and I am not. I want to be an artist, and I don't act like one. I don't live like one, or maybe I don't think I do because I still don't feel like I'm worthy of calling myself an artist without a broader, original body of work. But I can't even let myself create that because I can't stand the thought of myself being bad at it. And I'm so critical of everything that comes out that I get stuck. I don't get very far in what I want to make because those first words aren't perfect. When I was in my late teens, early 20s, living with my mom, she was married to a man who would stand in the kitchen and drink beer while he watched network television on a tiny TV above the refrigerator. And he would watch you when you'd come in and get a snack or make your dinner, and he would be waiting for you to make a mistake. And when you did make a mistake, finally, he would scold you. And sometimes that's what it feels like is happening with my sensor in my head, is there's someone watching me and waiting for me to do anything out of line, anything too weird, anything inappropriate, unacceptable, unconventional, so that I can be punished endlessly. And I've gotten better at recognizing that sensor in my head and letting myself be, but it's still there. Maybe it'll always be there. But I guess awareness is the first step to changing anything. The second section of the chapter is called Success. Creativity is a spiritual practice. It is not something that can be perfected, finished, and set aside. It is my experience that we reach plateaus of creative attainment only to have a certain restlessness set in. Yes, we are successful. Yes, we have made it. But in other words, just when we get there disappears. This unfinished quality, this restless appetite for further exploration tests us. We are asked to expand in order that we not contract. Evading this commitment, an evasion that tempts us all, leads straight to stagnation, discontent, spiritual discomfort. Can I rest, we wonder? In a word, the answer is no. As artists, we are spiritual sharks. The ruthless truth is that if we don't keep moving, we sink to the bottom and die. The choice is very simple. We can insist on resisting on our laurels, or we can begin anew. The stringent requirement of a sustained creative life is the humility to start again, to begin anew. It is the willingness to once more be a beginner that distinguishes a creative career. Another random quote in there she said was, "We insist on a straight and narrow path when the artist's way is a spiral path." I thought that was very interesting. Because I'm also going to start again after this. I'm just going to look at what I made here and then read the book and try to go over the things that I missed so that I can put it in my brain that it's okay to try and fail and fail and fail and fail, and that I'm going to be okay. The next section of this chapter is called the Zen of Sports. Most blocked creatives are cerebral beings. We think of all the things we want to do but can't. Early in recovery, we next think of all the things we want to do but don't. In order to effect a real recovery, one that lasts, we need to move out of the head and into a body of work. To do this, we must first of all move into the body. Creativity requires action, and part of that action must be physical. Returning to the notion of ourselves as spiritual radio sets, we need enough energy to raise a strong signal. This is where walking comes in. What we are after here is moving meditation. This means one where the act of motion puts us into the now and helps us to stop spinning. 20 minutes a day is sufficient. The object is to stretch your mind more than your body, so there doesn't need to be an emphasis on fitness, although eventual fitness is a likely result. The goal is to connect to a world outside of us, to lose the obsessive self-focus of self-exploration and simply explore. One quickly notes that when the mind is focused on other, the self often comes into a far more accurate focus. Exercise teaches the rewards of process. It teaches the sense of satisfaction over small tasks well done. An endorphin-induced natural high is one of the byproducts of exercise itself. Exercise is often the going that moves us from stagnation to inspiration, from problem to solution, from self-pity to self-respect. We do learn by going. We learn we are stronger than we thought. We learn to look at things with a new perspective. We learn to solve our problems by tapping into our own inner resources and listening for inspiration, not only from others, but from ourselves. Seemingly without effort, our answers come while we swim or stride or ride or run. By definition, this is tone of the fruits of exercise. I don't know what that's supposed to say for real. What I have to say about this section is, last year I became activated after doing this program when it comes to fitness and wellness. My ability to complete my morning pages imperfectly each day translated to my ability to show up in the gym and lift every day, by also showing up to the trail every day, and by starting a training program for a half marathon and then completing that half marathon in August. And I'll be doing that same race this year. And I feel like my whole life changed after this program the first time. Right now, I feel like I'm kind of stagnant or depressed, but I feel like I'm coming out of that because spring is back. So I should be out on the trail more soon. The thing about exercise is you feel effects immediately, but you don't really feel effects until like 3 months later, after you're in it, after you start and you're in the habit, it's all around you and it has become you. The results are delayed, so it's hard to really feel like you are benefiting from a commitment to movement unless you really commit to it and give your movement practice your patience and your trust that it really is going to help you. This section also hits because we go to school from K through 12. We're expected to sit down, shut up, obey, and that disconnects us from our body, disconnects us from nature. We don't feel agency over ourselves like we did as children. We feel like we need permission and somebody to tell us what to do in order to move our bodies. And that's why I'm becoming a personal trainer, because that's what I feel like I need, or that I needed, and might always need somebody to just watch me and say, hey, you're doing good. Why don't you try this? Do this a little differently. And I saw a TikTok where this very popular trainer on TikTok was saying, why do you need permission to move your fucking body? And like yelling at the camera. And I'm thinking, bro, people have trauma. People have a lot of issues that, like, sometimes people need help, and there's no shame in that. But shame is the reason that people need help, is because we've been shamed so much in our society that people need help being able to get into a gym. People need help figuring out what moves to do because they're overwhelmed with all the information that there is about exercise and fitness. So that really irritated me when I heard him say that, because obviously people have their own life experiences, and just because you don't understand why people need help doesn't make it wrong that people need help. There's no shame in asking for help because of the society that we grow up in. The odds are stacked against us for us to be living a healthy lifestyle. The next section is called Building Your Artist's Altar. Morning pages are meditation, a practice that brings you to your creativity and your creator God. In order to stay easily and happily creative, we need to stay spiritually centered. This is easier to do if we allow ourselves centering rituals. It is important that we devise these ourselves from the elements that feel holy and happy to us. Remember that your artist is fed by images. We need to unlearn our old notion that spirituality and sensuality don't mix. An artist's altar should be a sensory experience. We are meant to celebrate the good things of this earth. Pretty leaves, rocks, candles, sea treasures, all these remind us of our Creator. Small rituals, self-devised, are good for the soul. Burning incense while reading affirmations or writing them, lighting a candle, dancing to drum music, holding a smooth rock, and listening to Gregorian chant. All of these tactile, physical techniques reinforce spiritual growth. Remember, the artist child speaks the language of the soul. Music, dance, scent, shells. Your artist's altar, it to the Creator, should be fun to look at, even silly. So I love that section of the chapter, and I think that's why I got this book about magic, witchcraft, to be able to create some rituals in my life. I do have a morning rising ritual. I would say I have a resting ritual when I'm going to bed. And I want to prioritize movement, flow, but I really should incorporate more scents. I guess I do I like jojoba oil with rosemary in the morning sometimes. I love brushing my teeth. That's a ritual. I love flossing. I love a clean mouth. So, yeah, I guess a lot of simple things could be made into rituals, but yeah. My monitor died, so I can't see myself to know that this is still happening, but I'll just trust. Tasks. She says, tape your own voice reading the basic principles. Choose a favorite essay from this book and tape that as well. Use this tape for meditation. So I'll do that. She says, write out in longhand your artist prayer from week 4. Place it where you can see it. Another task says, buy yourself a special creativity notebook, number pages 1 through 7. Give 1 page each to the following categories: health, possessions, leisure, relationships, creativity, career, spirituality. With no thought as to practicality, list 10 wishes in each area. I did that, but I don't want to share them. They're personal. The next task says, working with the honest changes section in week 4, inventory for yourself the ways you have changed since beginning your recovery. This section is about telling the truth in your morning pages and sitting with that truth. And I think I've been doing this throughout the program, looking at myself honestly. Next task, list 5 ways you will change as you continue. I said I'm going to sit down and play music. I'm going to try to stay conscious of my ideas and take action of them when they arise. I'm going to continue my morning pages. I'm going to take more chances in my style. I'm going to use what I have learned about myself this round as a map that I can come back to and check in with. And I'm going to be more protective of myself and the things I expose myself to. The people, the places, the things that I expose myself to, the information. Next task, list 5 ways you plan to nurture yourself in the next 6 months. Courses you will take, supplies you will allow yourself, artist dates and vacations just for you. I said I'm going to run my half marathon in August. I'm going to order some summer clothes. I'm going to do my kettlebell class in May. I'm going to get a hydrofacial, and I'm going to get a massage. The next task says, take out a piece of paper and plan 1 week's nurturing for yourself. This means 1 concrete, loving action every single day for 1 week. Please binge, she says. I said I would get a yummy coffee drink when I meet a friend for coffee soon. I'm having dinner with my family tomorrow, so I'll get a meal there. I want to get Good Truckin', which is my favorite breakfast place, on Sunday. I want to take a nap on Monday. Tuesday, I want to visit my sister and get food at either Seva or Detroit Filling Station in Ann Arbor. And then Wednesday, I want to go for a walk. Thursday, I'm going to listen to some music that I like. Next task, write and mail an encouraging letter to your inner artist. This sounds silly and feels very, very good to receive. Remember that your artist is a child and loves praise and encouragement and festive plans. I said, Dear Mari, you're doing a good job. It's okay to not be perfect. Don't be sad that things haven't worked out perfectly. You're doing the best you can. This world is so overwhelming. And look how far you've come. You have a great life and a lot to look forward to. We get to go to Veg Fest soon and do the kettlebell class, and it's going to be warm and nice out soon. We get to run more, and then in the fall, we get to go to Marquette. Everything's going to be okay. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to be anything. You don't have to make anyone happy but you. You have no kids. You have very little responsibility. You are sitting pretty. Do not worry. Be at peace. Let your jaw unclench. Let yourself breathe. You have all the time in the world. You are enough. You are safe. You have home and sanctuary and family. Remember to appreciate what you have. Love, Mari. Next task. Once more, re-examine your God concept. Does your belief system limit or support your creative expansion? Are you open-minded about altering your concept of God? I said, I don't think my God concept has changed. There's just a lot of unknown. I don't know if I can yet claim an idea of who or what I think God is because of what religion has done to my thoughts about God. As a punishing, critical father figure who seeks to control and judge, I resent that image. I do believe in flow and energy and synchronicity and magic, but I have a hard time reconciling that with my other ideas of God and being able to call that God. And then the last one was about synchronicities popping up, and I said, one night this week we finished the movie Stepmom by Chris Columbus, and then the next day we started Mrs. Doubtfire, which also coincidentally happened to be by Chris Columbus. But that's it as far as synchronicities go. I don't have that much going on, but thank you so much for being here with me. I'd love to know your thoughts about the content. We got one more chapter to read for this round. Thank you for being here with me. As I said before, please like and subscribe to my channel. And I appreciate you. I hope you're well. Thanks again.